I never thought about being an author. That was the last thing in my mind. I was, want to be a doctor, white picket fences, get married, have kids. So that all worked out well for me for a while. And so I worked for about 2 years. I started having my first private practice job in Maryland as a radiologist. And then I joined Ohio State University as an attending. I was an attending there for a few years. So I had some investments. I thought, you know what? Medicine's getting killed. Our reimbursement's going down. So you know what? Let me get into investment. And so I decided to jump into the commercial real estate market. So I invested pretty heavily in real estate. But my timing was horrible. Right before the recession. I had about a few $1,000,000 before the recession. I lost it all. I got wiped out. It was very tough. I had a baby. We were in Columbus. And I worked pretty hard to get to where I was, and everything just disappeared in 10 years. All that 10 years of work just wiped out within a year or two. So that was just the start of it. The financial part just was just the start of what was going on. That created a lot of stress. You're going through watching your net worth completely disappear. It's very stressful. So that affected my health. I mean, people say, oh, you look healthy now, but back then I was 25 pounds heavier. My cholesterol was going up. And my sugar started climbing. So I went to the doctor, and here I am a doctor. I should know how to take care of myself. Here you go. Here's a glucose finger stick. I'm like, what? I'm too young for this. This can't be happening to me. I had to do something about it. But where do you start? That was the biggest question. Where do you start? This book never existed. It wasn't even in my mind. So I was going through a situation where I was going through possible bankruptcy. So I'm gaining weight. I'm almost bankrupt. I'm going through a lot of stress. It was a downward spiral. So I had to do something. I could have just thrown in the towel. I said, you know what, I give up. I went through all this medical school. What was this all for? I lost it all. But I chose not to do that. I had to go through some bankruptcy lawyers. They said, oh yeah, you should just file bankruptcy. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I went to the banker, looked him straight. I drove to Columbus where I was, looked him straight in the eye. Listen, I'm going to file bankruptcy in 2 days. Here's the paperwork. We can work a deal, or I could just go ahead and file. He looked at me. He goes, you know what? Let's work a deal. I had a settlement. I worked out a cash settlement, but he cleaned me out pretty good. So either way, I was pretty much lost everything. So I had to pretty much restart my life, reboot my life. But then I'm dealing with a health issue. I gained weight. How do I lose weight? So I'm kind of going back to my medical school years. They never really taught me how to lose weight. I learned anatomy. I learned physiology. I've learned all that good stuff. But the biggest health crisis in the country, obesity, what do? So I had to go back and relearn and re-educate myself on how to lose weight and how to reduce my stress and how to get back on my feet. So I actually went back to my own school 101 and started researching all these topics. And as I researched, there was a lot of trial and error. I said, let me go to a personal trainer. Okay, I'm working my butt off, but no results. I said, well, I'm exercising, but that's not working. So then I started changing my diet. Well, what do? There's 1,000 diet books out there. The cookie diet, the South Beach diet. I mean, you name it, there's a diet for everything. And I was overwhelmed, like, where do you start? So I started taking notes. I researched a lot. And I started seeing a pattern. Okay, this is what I need to do. And then I started seeing results. So I did start changing my diet. And so I started seeing the scale get better for me. And I was feeling better about myself. So I had all these notes. You know, this is while I had a full-time job and also being a father, taking care of my kids. So I had all these great notes. I said, well, you know what, now that I have all this, I've seen results. I need to pass this information on. So I have 2 little boys. They're still pretty young. You know, this would be something good to leave them. So I just started putting together a manuscript together. Okay, this is my legacy to my 2 boys. And I had my wife read it. You know, this is pretty good stuff. You can help other people. And then I thought about it more. You know, you're probably right. As a doctor, as a radiologist, whatever your profession is, usually used to helping people one-on-one in the office. I said, how amazing would that be if I could help more people? All this work I've done, I can share this information. So I put together this manuscript. And one of the problems I realized, when I needed help not just in one category. I needed help with my relationships, because that was going south because of the stress. So I need help with my mental, stress relief. I need help physically. So I really needed help in a lot of different areas. I would come back from the library, 10 books, 15 books, and I didn't want to do that. So that's what the whole book is all about, is putting everything together into one book. That's why I call it Optimal Living 360. And so what I put in there is something where I can share the information that I got in personal finance, health, relationships, even spirituality. Because at that time, I even lost some faith too, with the whole 9/11. And I'm like, you know what? This is ridiculous. So this is what religion's all about, people killing each other. So I pretty much gave up on religion for a while. I said, this is not for me. But slowly, I sort of came back. Whenever something bad was happening to me, I'd subconsciously, give a prayer or something like that. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing that? So I realized there's still something in me that has that feeling of spirituality. We were on an airplane leaving Dallas with my family. Sorry, I should have shut my cell phone off. But there was a huge turbulence, and I just felt the plane just sink. And I'm holding my kids like this, and I'm like, okay, this is it. And all I can remember doing is, okay, God, save us, And it was just an instinct. And I thought about it, why did I do that? So I realized that was actually important to realize, you know what? Spirituality is also important too. Have a little bit of faith. Gives you a little bit of hope. Give you a little bit of courage in life. So that's what I put together. And it's really helped me a lot. And that's kind of the message of the book. And so I guess the question is, why did you write a book? It was not even in my radar screen to be an author. I was sitting here, right here, like many of you, studying and never even thinking about what my life would be 10 to 15 years from now. And you guys will be in a different situation 10 years from now, 5 years from now. The friends you have now, or you're going to have different friends 10 years from now. And so some of you are going to be very tight. Some of you are going to move on. But that's okay. That's the cycle that we all live in. So, what I want to do is just share this message. You know what?